Okay, so it just started. Hey everybody, it's Camille Prosperity. I was sitting here talking with my new friend B, who's on my list, and we were talking about some stuff because how do you like the list, B?
I love it.
And so I've been meeting the best people for the most part, and that's all I do is pay attention to good people. And the funny thing is, the majority of the world has good people in it. It's just some few.
It's just a couple.
It's just some few miserable ones that move around real quick. So it seems like it's a lot of them.
Every bag of fruit got some rotten apples in it, right?
Right. But now, y'all, B and I were having a great conversation, and I said, you know what, this is what the people need to hear. So, do you mind going live and letting them just basically be a fly on the wall, so to speak, as my coach would say, to our conversation, because this is real talk. Hey, John, IG, is it AG? Sorry about that. So I'm not going to look at the comments as much because this is the long short. I sent out one of those tips, and you reached back out to me saying, B.
What the tip? Reference to what? What I did?
No. Tell them what you told me when you reached back out to me.
Well, girl, I would have to pull up my whole everything. I mean, I read a lot.
Well, basically, she was like.
Okay, so what I did, what I was telling her was that I did not even know consumer law like that, and looking at her books and things like that I had went ahead and bought, I didn't know that I had these laws on my side. So my mother had a case where Capital One was trying to sue her for almost $20,000. Okay, so I used, I guess you could say, legalese in a way to where they didn't really want to mess with us no more. So they threatened to take her to court, scaring her, frightening her. So she was scared, and I told her, like, we're gonna fight them because you've been a great customer for 30 years. They're not gonna do this. This is wrong. So I wrote a letter. Which she has a copy of
Paul.
the letter.
I'm gonna do you like Dame Dash. Pause. But when she says she wrote a letter, y'all, my girl B literally means that. It was a handwritten letter, like when you go to summer camp and you be like, "Dear Mom, things here are great." It's a handwritten letter. I saw it, but go ahead.
I wrote the letter. I mean, and you know that what is it? To whom this may concern is a powerful statement. I mean, I always tell people to say that in the beginning. I mean, you know, some people tell you don't say too much, don't not say too much. I did a little bit of passion and a little bit of their own language to where they were just like, oh, okay, we can tell if we take them to court, this girl not going to stop, so we don't want a problem. And so within a week, they dropped the case, which I was shocked. My mom was shocked. They dropped the case.
You know why? Because they never had a case to begin with. And by the way, y'all, this is strictly entertainment purposes. I am talking to someone about their experience. I'm not a lawyer. She's not a lawyer. Ain't nobody a lawyer.
Right.
Nobody telling you what to do. Nobody is going to tell you what to do. So please do not leave in the comments all your personal information, your address, your social. Nobody's calling you. Nobody's going to write you. No. We are just sharing our experience, and then you can take from it what you want if you so want, but this is not advice. All right?
You can't be scared. They're going to try to scare you and bamboozle you like they've been doing forever. Like I told Kim, which is my mother's name, I told her, like, I didn't know I had these ones on my side. At all.
Exactly.
I didn't even know. And that's what she's saying. Yeah, I wrote the letter. I hand wrote the letter from my experience. That's why when she's always telling y'all she can't give y'all a template or don't follow a template because everyone's story is different. So you have to use your own experience to go ahead.
Hold on 1 second. Son, can you close the door?
Look, y'all, we both got kids. So.
Son, can you close the door? That's okay. I don't think y'all can still hear us, right? Y'all can still hear us. I feel like him in the back is louder than what it really is. But anyway, so yeah, people say all the time, well, what's a template? What's a template? What they don't understand is if someone were to give you a template, as surely as you tell people, hey, listen, please don't use this template. Please modify it. There are so many hard-headed people that don't listen. They're going to plug and play, take out somebody else's information, put their information, and when enough people do that, these computers, what is it called? The OCR system?
The algorithm.
Right, and the OCR system. It's a scanning system that they have. And when they detect the same sequence of words in the same order, then they automatically know, boom, this is not.
We're screwed.
Huh? What you say?
We're screwed.
Yeah, we're screwed. So whoever's template it was originally, you just messed them up. And everybody, like, don't use a template. Just tell your story. So, like, I shared with the text list, right? There was another handwritten letter that was very effective. And the person just wrote at the top. And I got that from, was it Alice's page or the Bureau Bullies page? Because I like to give credit.
About the student loan?
Yes. And he simply wrote at the top, you broke the law, right?
That's right.
And
sometimes less is better, and it just depends.
It just depends.
That situation was near and dear. Like, my mom never missed a payment in 30 years. I'm 35. She never missed a payment in 30 years, and they trying to say, fraud or this or that, or you're not just paying your bills.
Right.
No, I put in the letter, that's not the personality or persona of a person automatically just stop paying their bills and they've never been late for 30 years. You know, you got to tell them. And
she put that in the letter. Let me see. Do you mind if I read bits and pieces of the letter?
That's why I gave it to you.
But I can, I'm not going to, like, put, like.
The name and the docket number.
No.
The only thing I don't care about. You can read everything.
Okay. But see, and y'all, you need to learn about this. Actually, everybody needs to learn about this, but the majority of people won't. And I'm gonna tell you this: like you said, you just be reading the laws, and I just be reading the laws, and you have to, because people are like, well, how do you find contract violations? Okay, number one, do you have, like, I always look at where is my contract first? Then when
because I called my car company. To get another copy.
Come on.
Freeze an account. I mean, you gotta read stuff first. You got to get your personal information right, because if you look at your credit report, oh my God, the names on there. I'm sitting here like, excuse me. What?
And people say, well, where do I start? Where do you want to start? What is the issue right now that is bothering you?
With your personal information, like that. That is where that's where I feel everybody at least needs to start with their personal information and freeze their stuff. Because once they do go to get your inquiries removed, if you have inquiries, it's going to make it harder for them. But if you don't, then you got to find out what's best for you, because everyone is different.
And as I've been studying this stuff, everybody has a different way of doing things. Like, people are like, did you authenticate your birth certificate? Did you do this, Kim? Did you do that? And I'm like, I cannot be dispersed. Like, I still run a whole business.
I'm not a robot.
Well, I still run a whole business that pays my bills, right? So consumer protection stuff right now is in my free time, which is non-existent. So I have to do one thing at a time. If I'm looking at these secondary bureaus opting out of their information after I get my reports and then suing them, I got to just focus on that one thing. Just like when I got the medical stuff off of my credit report, I had to just focus on what do I need to know? What laws do I need to know to get the medical collections off of my credit report? Even though y'all do know that for some FICO scores, medical collections aren't even counted in that FICO score. It just
if you want to get a mortgage, though.
But if you want to, but it just depends on which FICO you need for what you want to do. So that's why when people are like, well, I want to buy a house. Okay, you have a totally different scenario than somebody who wants to buy a car. Exactly. Or somebody who wants to get a credit card. So you can't just watch a YouTube person and say, oh, they said to do this, I'm going to do that. Or I heard this other person did that, so I'm going to do this too. No, you need to empower yourself, learn about this stuff so that you can apply it to your specific situation. It's just like you wouldn't move into a city and be like, hey, where should I live? Well, it depends. What do you want?
You got a child that needs to go to this school.
You want to be in a safe area? What's your budget?
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody has a tailor custom situation. So the best thing to do is learn the laws. And people say the laws all the time. Sometimes I have people ask me questions and literally I just answer that question in the video 2 or 3 days prior. So when I see somebody saying, hey, call me, I want to ask you about da-da-da-da, and I'm like, I just talked about that.
Right, you just refer them to the video. Look, because
I don't answer at all, actually.
Look, I was guilty of that at first. I was like, hold on. Because, you watch so much, and you guys, just like the Bible or whatever you read, if you are, I don't know. But you can't take everything in. Everyone's trying to take everything in at once. It is not.
Yeah, you give yourself breaks.
You can do overnight. It
takes time, and you give yourself breaks. But here's the thing that I learned from the people that were teaching me. They said, listen, if you need me to spoon feed you all of this stuff in the beginning, you're never going to make it through this entire process, because the banks are not going to spoon feed you. The courts are not going to. They're going to say, do it this way, and if you don't follow, if you do not become very good at following directions and actually reading right now, you're never going to be able to do this.
Well, I remember what you said in one of your videos. You said, if you a dork like me, because I'm in my last year of psychology, and I'm like, Lord have mercy, how I'm going to do this? But, okay, you said, if you a dork like me and you just read, and don't execute, it's easier for me to execute letters. Like, just getting disability for people in 2 months. I can do that because I know what they're looking for. Like, I know what they're looking for, but those are just a couple different specialties that I know that I can do. And now I'm just like I said, coming across the Straw Man book. I came across that on your YouTube, and I said,
you like it?
I gotta get this book, girl. It's right here next to me. I'm only on page 22, because I told my son, I said, I read the first 4 pages to him while he's standing in the door like, oh my God. I said, whatever, you're gonna read this right after, and you're gonna thank me.
And he's gonna like it. And he's going to like it. It's an easy read. It's not an easy read, but it's a quick read, because once you start reading it, you're like, wait, what?
Right.
So
I would at least give me your Straw Man, so you can kind of, know a little bit of something, because if you're just looking for templates and to just not even go over the laws, you need a highlighter. At least that's how I am. You need a highlighter.
Right.
Highlight it. And then go about your business, because this is your children's generational wealth. Like, they have robbed us of that stuff. So you need to say, okay, and I know I'm going to get it. So, and I know Kim going to get it, and is getting it, and
okay.
we're going to keep getting it.
For sure. So I'm going to read some of this letter, okay?
Okay.
So y'all, this is, just bear with me, because it is a handwritten letter, and I'm just going to be blanking out. Just to show y'all.
My bad.
No. The handwriting is fine, but I just, it's only so. Let me see if I can make it bigger on my computer screen. But y'all, the only point that I'm trying to make in this is that you guys are overthinking the process. Tell your story. Learn the laws so that you can regurgitate the information in a way. I learned the laws.
Your own words.
Right, so that people, just like B said, they need to feel like, okay, we don't want to mess with her. We don't want to mess with him.
And that's how I made it feel, but in a very nice way. I think that was very
Oh, this first line cracks me up. Okay.
I know you don't like that.
I've never seen that before in a letter. So her letter says, to whom it may concern, I would like to first and foremost take the time out to remind you and your family to continue to stay safe as the climate of our world attempts to get back to normal, according to the records from the as the climate of the world attempts to get back to normal, period. That was very nice and kind of you. Then you say, according to the records from the above docket number, which was the court docket number, there are a few key notes that are in Capital One story that I want to, I guess you're saying that I want to address. It says, I have never not made a payment on my credit card bill in 33 years. Not many can say that, but I wear that like a badge of honor. See, do you see what this is? This is regular everyday language. So as she's writing this letter, it's her story, and it's written like a person. It's not written like something that somebody went to a group and used as a template. You can tell that's her story, because a woman who has paid her bill on time for 33 years would wear that like a badge of honor. Do y'all get that? Then she says, my character is being attacked. That's very important, because that's language from the law. Your reputation is judged by your credit oftentimes. So she's setting the stage here for a case for remedy. My character is being attacked, and that is not how I should be portrayed. So she's saying, I got a problem with you doing this. The amount of blank is an inaccurate number. Capital One is showing I opened my credit card in 2000. This is false. I opened that in the 90s. Any creditor can pull my history and see that. And see, do y'all see that she's using regular human being language so they know this is a real person? But she's saying stuff. She said, I got it from the 90s. I would like an original copy from the 90s of the document / contract signed by myself, comma, her name. Thank you, and her name. That's the letter. That is the letter, y'all. And that letter resulted in her receiving communication from the court that said, okay, let me blow this up.
Yeah, like I said, disregard my mama sideways, po baby.
Oh, no, don't you talk about her. She did great. Miss Kim, if you're watching, you did great. Don't listen to B. You did great. And that resulted in an order coming from the court that said, on this day came to be considered the notice of non-suit without prejudice, filed by plaintiff, Capital One, the court being advised of the plaintiff's non-suit. I said non-suit. I'm tired, girl. And you said that you was like, I'm just gonna let her roll with it.
No, they gonna let you roll with it too. We single mamas.
I am honestly tired. I still need more sleep from the weekend for being out of town. Anyway, non-suit. I got myself together. Hereby orders that the above entitled and numbered cause be dismissed without prejudice as to the refiling of the same as to above reference matter asserting to defendant with all costs taxed to the party incurring the same. I mean, here's the bottom line, y'all. She was scared to go to court. She wrote her letter, and for right now, it's what was a big issue is a non-issue. What was a big issue is a non-issue. And she did the right thing by asking for a completed copy of the original contract.
That's where you hit them. What? Your character? Wait a minute. Okay, that's a suit. We need an original copy because they ain't got it.
And if you're studying the Fair Credit Reporting Act, this is debt collection, lead to divorce, and they talk about a lot of stuff in that act. It's
that knocked her. My mom is, very.
My thing cut out. You said she had an 800 something.
Yes, she had an 800 something credit score, so that knocked her down. So we're still, going through things to try to. It was 2 credit cards, so now we have Discovery. So that's the next one. And I'm just waiting. Like you said, we waiting for something in the mail as evidence, right? But they ain't sending us nothing. I'm like, did they have a Capital One and Discover have a conversation?
Well,
so we gotta just do Discover. It was just a lot going on, so we got one done. But hey.
But see, I got a letter like this when I was in DeKalb County and I lost my job. A credit card company took me. I got a thing in the mail. I had never been to court for anything like that. I had been for traffic tickets, but I had never been to court for anything like that. It was so scary. It was so scary for me that I just froze up and I did nothing. And that's what they want you to do. So guess what? They got a default judgment against me.
Still right now on your credit?
No. It's off now. Like all of this I have to rectify. What happened was they got a default judgment against me. It went to collections, of course. I paid the collections because at the time I didn't know this stuff.
Right.
And so now, but there's no statute of limitations on fraud, right? That's what the law, that's what my interpretation of the law. This is not legal advice. So, again, I can't even get it to trust and authenticating my birth certificate and doing all this stuff and da-da-da. I just have to get my...
Yeah, that's a lot.
And some people are like, you don't even need credit. You don't have to play their game. But here's the whole deal. When you don't, you got to be ready to not play their game. Right now, this world is run by credit. So I know a lot of people that's doing this. And some of them are like, I don't even play their credit game. And then others are like, no, I play their game, but I just don't let them play me.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah, I don't let them play me.
Right now, like, y'all been doing a lot. Like, wait a minute. You know, when it's a lot, like I said, the most hardest part is unlearning to relearn. That's why I said us with kids, if you have kids and you're listening, I'm like, put this in your kids' minds. They're going to think you nuts at first, but, I mean, you're giving them a fighting chance because they don't really teach us in school. Are you serious?
No, and they're never going to teach us in school. My son showed me his schoolwork, and I was just like, you don't need none of this.
Right, and I told my son the same thing, and I said, well, answer the questions the way that they want.
And there's gonna be somebody in the comments like, you're a bad mother because school is what? Great,
No,
knock yourself out.
No,
that's how people do. I don't even care no more, girl. That's how people do.
Because
but
how is it? There are certain things like, okay, you get science, okay, that's fine, but certain things, no. Like here in Texas, they did do a class like that. They gave them a certain amount of money a month to spend on their bills, this, that, and the third. They didn't tell them, hey, you can have a roommate. You know, they were trying to let them think on their own. You can have a roommate and split the cost. But then they took that class away, you know, because it was helping them actually learn
life skills,
how to manage finances.
And they want us to be ignorant. And by us, I mean the whole entire population. They want the masses to be ignorant about their rights, ignorant about how to maneuver. There are so many people who, when I was in education, they didn't even know how to fill out forms, like basic forms. And so if the people can't read, if the people are into this text talk and doing all this stuff on social media, condensing words, not spelling stuff correctly, they're definitely not going to get into etymology and studying the origin words and what words mean or anything like that.
Well, I looked up a semi-colon when I was reading it. I said, even though I'm in school, because we got to get back to the basics. That's what, you know, we're so away from the basics. We got to get back to the basics. I'm like, y'all got to get back to the basics.
And that's really where it starts with the consumer laws. Like, everybody doesn't need to read everything at one time. But for me,
you can't.
Right.
But to digest it all, your brain gonna burst. Because that's why I'm like, I'll be up for 3 days when I'm doing this anthropology homework. And I'm sitting here like, I'm mad doing this homework. But when I went into school, I said, oh, well, I'll get them student loans taken care of, so I don't care, whatever. You know, that's the attitude I have when I went in.
And then some people, you know, it's a trip. Some people are like, oh, so y'all trying to be out here not paying bills that you owe? No, because that would be crazy. Thank you. Right, no, because that would be crazy. But if the bills are already paid, why am I paying bills that are already paid?
Yes, they're already paid for. That's what I'm saying. They already paid for. And they're trying to get you to pay for them 2 and 3 times. If you would read, then you'd know that. You know, but you can't tell everyone. Like, you know, a lot of people in my group, they always say, you know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. If I'm telling you, like I told you earlier, and this goes to my child's father, I told him, I can get your license unsuspended, honey. You know, get the fees taken care of. And he's still, like, I'm sitting here like, you still not doing it? You rather drive into a gas station every time a cop passed by versus me taking the fees off for you, because what do you not want to go take the driving test again? I'm so confused. So you can't make people do it. There's some that are meant, but this ain't for the weak-hearted.
No, it's not, because I've spent hours. I have literally spent hours. I've traveled. I've spent thousands of dollars. And,
like I said, I'm at $2,400 and I'm about to throw out.
Okay. And guess what? I'm not saying that in a complaining way. When you look at the payoff, I mean, just look at Jay. Jay got $30,000 from one case. And so when I add up everything that I paid that I'm due back plus the violations, okay, now I just have to make sure I have to make sure that I'm balancing the helping the community, but also it takes time to write these letters. It takes time to send this stuff off. So I got to make sure I'm balancing what I need to do for me, as well as providing information to the masses as well, to get all the money that I'm due back in my pocket, back in my household for myself and my child. But it takes time. You're not going to be able to still watch Love is Blind. And
oh, girl, I did watch the marriages, okay? I did. I forgot. I was like, hold on. My friend had to remind me when I was reading the book. And I said, hold on. The marriages? I said, girl, okay, hold on. I was reading, and I had to watch the marriages and then went back to reading. But
I say that jokingly, because you do need to give your brain a break, because this stuff gets intense. This stuff gets intense. It gets intense, but it's stuff that guess what? If we learn it little by little, inch by inch, it's a cinch. And so we just got to be consistent, and it's better to do it consistently.
And like I said, I'm so happy. Like I said, I came across your page, like, because I have not, there has not been another woman with a child that's a teenager like mine. And, and that's why I'm so happy. Like, oh my God, yes, because my son, I'll ask him all the time, I say, you think I'm nuts or you think I'm smart? And he's like, a little bit of both. And I'm like,
that's good.
Well, okay. He said, but mostly what you do be talking about be coming true. He was like, but if I hear the word consumer one more time, I'm going to scream. I said, well, you better get to screaming.
That's right. And you know what? The Bureau Bullies actually had a mentorship. They had a mentorship for kids because they said, I'm not gonna say it as eloquently as Brother Umar, but he was like, we've been teaching these classes to adults, huh?
I love him too.
I know. That's the first person who put me on, the very first person. But he was
like I said, there's two more. Because I ain't gonna say it on here because I don't know. I'll talk to you in private.
Okay.
But there's two more that they feed off each other, and they're not stingy with information. That's what. And I'm just like so many people. There's one attorney who was just charging so much just for a consultation, and I'm sitting here like, yeah, our information is valuable, and yeah, you can pay for it eventually, but I'm sitting here like, really, for a 30-minute consultation, you want me to pay this much? Like, what if you can't even help me? That's rude.
It's going to be a gamble. I know. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I charge a lot for my time, and not for.
That's what I was saying. Like my mama told me, girl, you got to charge for your time because they ask.
And you do. Questions. Because when I used to talk to people for free, they used to be so long-winded. They didn't care anything about me, my son, or anything that was going on. And I said, you know what, Kim, this is your fault. Because you didn't establish the boundaries. So right now, if somebody does want to talk to me, you're going to have to pay me to take me away from my other responsibilities. That's what you're paying me for. You got to make...
But you're doing something totally different. Like I said, I'll have to tell you. That's why I said I made
we'll talk.
My website to talk to people. But then they're like, oh, now I got to pay you to talk to you. Yes, because my mama said it.
But that's how you weed out the people who really want it, and that's just really, and that's really what has to be done, because you still, and what people also don't understand is that the energy exchange when you're talking about this stuff, when you're talking to people and they lost their homes, their cars, it's a very emotional thing if you're any type of decent human being. So honestly, I don't care how much somebody is paying you, you can't talk to these people back to back. So you can only do so much per day or per whatever, because it's going to take a lot out of you as you pour into them. So that's something that you have to be.
Start charging people. That's exactly why.
Because you don't want everybody.
It happens because you cannot. It's so emotionally draining. And that's what I told my mom. I said, Mom, I can't. My family is always like, well, we'll get B to do it. B can do it. B can do this. B can do it. No. B. Like that's why I was like, nah. No.
You see, Jay had won 2 court cases and was working on one, and his 25 years old. His family doesn't even know yet. But when
we won 3. We won a total of 3 cases. We won a landlord case, so that's something for another day. But they was asking my mother did this by herself. So I won 2 by myself, and the landlord of Anglo-Saxon descent, I'm not racist at all, but he told me, before going in the courtroom, you know what he had to tell me, Kim? He said, I've never lost a court case. He was like, it's still time to get out and I can help you. I said, well, you're going to lose today.
And see, some people would have been like, you know what? Maybe I should take him up on the offer.
Girl, listen, I went in there, I beat him. He goes, looks like you won. And the judge was like, it looks like she just won what's due to her. Like, and you're the first person to beat me, but you shouldn't have been so cocky. Excuse you, I had all my evidence and you didn't have none. You were that cocky?
But see, B, this is the reason why it's so important that people learn how to do stuff for themselves instead of seeking too many. And like, I know that we all can't know everything, but some of the questions that I get, I'm just like, oh man, you're not going to be able to ever assert yourself if you can't figure this one out. This thing right here out. Because when you go to court, you can't take, even if you have somebody who is mentoring you, who is showing you the way, when you go to court, you're most likely going to be by yourself.
Have you watched The Good Wife before? I always tell everybody, I'm like, look at Alicia Florrick on The Good Wife. I mean, that's what I always
No, I've never watched one episode.
That's very good. If you ever have have time because there's so
Okay.
many laws in there that she throw out. When I tell you, she
All right,
got
I'm
me
gonna make
with
a
that
note of it.
case. The Good Wife, which they haven't spin off The Good Wife, so you need to watch The Good Wife first. When I be in court, I always forget to say judge or your honor. I always say sorry.
I don't think we're supposed to say your honor. I got to get clarity on that.
I always say, girl, from TV, always your honor. I'm always like, sir. He laughed at me because my car had broke down. So when I got to the court that day, I said my Uber was late. I apologize, and he laughed. He said, I've never heard that. But everybody in the city hates this judge, and I don't have a problem with the judge. I'm sitting here like,
Look at you. You a regular at the court.
I've only seen him in person once, and he dismissed my tickets for my suspended license, all of them.
Was that because of you? Was that because of the laws or what?
Those were hardships. I had help in Houston from a judge and their clerks. So I always tell people, get cool with the clerks at your county. Get cool with the clerks at your county. If you don't have a lot of money, or you're a single parent, single father, or you don't have a lot of money, there are ways to do it through hardship. But you have to act. There are ways to get these tickets and things dismissed, but you gotta be able to do the work.
You always got to do the work.
I'm the one I say on the phone. I don't want to talk to the customer service rep. I need to talk to your boss.
They can't do anything.
The brain on the table that's linked up to something that ain't even real. Like, I need to talk to your boss's boss because they just doing their job and reading the script.
Exactly.
They have no idea.
Right. They have no power to change anything. But what we've got to do is just sit down and like I said, I started with my credit report looking at what was there so that I could position myself and my child to take advantage, like this game that they're playing.
And your who and your child.
And my child. Yeah, I gotta position us so that we're not throwing.
Y'all got kids. Y'all better get it together for them babies.
While I'm trying to get my remedy, while I'm trying to get, before I do that, I got to clean up all this stuff first because I need them to delete what is wrong. Why? Because deletion is admission. If you deleted it, then clearly, right. If you deleted it, then clearly it should have never been there to begin with in the first place. So now that you done told on yourself by deleting it, I can go and say, hey, listen. For the time that it was on my report, just like you said, your mom's credit score dropped. For the time that it was on my report, this, and this happened. I got this, and the rate was higher than it should have been. You deleted it, so you know it shouldn't have been there. Now, run me my coins. Right, like Funky Dineva say, pay me for my pain. Because that's really the truth. And as a single parent,
and it is. I mean, she's crying and everything.
Moms be real upset.
Yo, credit, you ain't nothing without credit. I don't know who the famous man was. Like, don't give me no money. Give me 800 credit score, and I'm good.
Because, mothers, they were around when this credit actually rolled out. You know what I'm saying? So this was a new concept for them. They tried their best, and they were used to being on a cash system. So to even get them to use credit was like, woo. But then once they started using it, they didn't play. They didn't just say, I'll just file bankruptcy, which that can get off of the report as well. When I found out,
I got the letter.
Man,
I got all the letters, girl, too. Like, I know you do too. But when you spend that type of money, you get access to those things.
And then just when you understand, but when you understand how all these different groups work and how they'll straight up lie to your face, and you have to go catch them in the lie and then say, now what did you say again? And then they be like, oh, my bad. Basically, corporations. And I'm doing a 3-hour I was just watching a 3-hour video today. I'm still in my last hour because we got class in 2 days. Huh?
I thought I was the only one who did that.
Oh, no, absolutely not. But the amount of knowledge that my particular mentor knows about, this is not a consumer protection thing. This is a credit thing.
I saw who yours was.
You saw who? And he's
light bright is what I call it. Because I had time, because my mom's really light. She's real, they can call it red. But I said, he light bright. Okay. So I did see him. Okay, but go ahead.
What he has, he talks about credit like nobody else. Like when he talks about CROA, the Credit Repair Organizations Act. When he talks about TSA, the telemarketing something that, and not, did I say TSA?
Is that the one
TSR
where
or
you send
something?
a letter to them and you have to send a letter to tell them not to call you, and if every time they call you it's $1,000 after the fact?
That as well. That's a part of that as well. But just like how he breaks down that what the CFPB is over and what this organization is over and why you should know that and why it's important and how it, like when you put together all the pieces of this puzzle, it's like, oh, that makes sense. And then when you take that credit knowledge, which is how I started and fell into the consumer protection stuff, and then you start piecing it together with the consumer protection laws, and you know who the players are and how this, then things start to click. Again, it's
I
not.
haven't went to Umar's page, and look, I started at the bottom, and I was like, man, that's gonna be too deep. Hold on.
Started at the bottom, now we're here. Girl, my notes for that are like, all of those notes, it was last year, every single night, I was on it, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. I was getting no sleep.
I'm nervous, Kim. I mean, I'm going to do it.
It's deep.
I know it's deep, and I'm going to tell you how I fell into it, and you can tell me our closing arguments, and then we'll get to our boys. The way I fell into it was this Kia recall. They are anally raping me. I had an engine just went out. You know, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Kia recalls, the Hyundai recalls, and the engine fires. So I had an extended warranty. They didn't want to fix it. Kia didn't want to fix it. The extended warranty didn't want to fix it. They quite literally told me, hey, if we fix all the engines that Kia, have broken, we'd be out of business. And I'm sitting here like,
what?
Okay,
well, you're going to fix this one, though.
So I'm going to go ahead, like I said, and rescind that auto loan. That's where it started. I went down the rabbit hole with that. So this is like month 3, okay, in reference to that. So Kia and this, I'm like, okay, God must have put me down this way to learn it better. Because, I could have wrote that letter, but I've been getting stonewalled every which way that I could go. So I'm just like, I'm going to go to a CFO or this or that. I ain't going to no little itty-bitty people, but I'm still like, okay, my credit is only about to touch 700. They take advantage of it. Whatever. No, ma'am. So I'm like, let me.
And it's constantly changing. And it changes between the bureaus. I'm going to do a video, hopefully tonight. I'm going to do it about why people should both get the credit monitoring, but also go directly to the consumer reporting agencies, because I wish I had known this and I found out after the fact. But the credit monitoring, where you have that formatting and you see side by side, you can leverage that to get some of these crooks to do what it is.
I have a question for you.
What's
I have
up?
a question, a personal question that maybe you guys, this is just for our entertainment here, okay? So in reference to, like they'll say, if you have Equifax, Experian, Transfer, to opt out of those, because you'll be waiving some of your rights later on down the road if you want to pursue remedy. Do you have, because I was like, let me all go to Experian and stuff, oh my goodness. I have the letter to send to opt out of all of them. Do you just do your annual credit report, or do you use, Identity IQ? I'm interested.
I do. Actually, I sent that out to the list because I did an interview with my friend who I put him onto Identity IQ, and I sent y'all my referral code. And
I just got on the list. I've been on your list like 1 week.
oh, really? It feels like you've been on there longer. So I'll send it to you though. But as soon as he signed up for Identity IQ, he got the alert that he was on the black web, and surely enough, there was some compromising with his information. Yeah, and he was able to. Yes, he was like, Kim, thank you so much. Because he just had Credit Karma before that. So, and that's what a lot of people do because it's free, but they don't understand. I mean, it's something, but people don't people be really relying on it, and they need to understand, like, literally credit monitoring is less than a meal that most people spend, in the drive-through. So if it's important enough to you, you'll find the money so that you can stay on top of your stuff. But
VPN too. I hope people get a VPN, child. I had to make sure I had a VPN.
See, some will know and some won't. And that's what I constantly have to remind myself too. Like, everybody's not in the same place. Some of this is new to people. The virtual private network, no, everybody does not have that. But you know, there's just a lot to learn. But what I always remind myself, because even I get discouraged, but I always remind myself, Kim, 5 years ago, where were you?
Call me, girl.
Huh?
Girl, call me anytime you get discouraged.
But see, you know what? But that's the other thing too. I try to tell people, know how to get yourself out of a funk.
Well, yeah, of course, but still.
I know what you're saying, and I appreciate it.
Alone, though, you know what I'm saying? Something, because I've even in school, I've had to go to a tutor, and they're like, "Dang, you going to a tutor? It must really be hard." I'm like, "No, I can't go into class just yet, so that human connection and interaction, I just need to talk to somebody. You know, sometimes you need that." Because you got to get out of your own head. Just like
that is true.
You may know about this. Yeah, I can do it by myself, but we ain't meant to just do it all by ourselves all the time, girl.
Yeah, we get further faster with the help of other people, for sure. But, I mean, this stuff goes deep. But once, just like anything else, you know, when you're learning it's difficult.
Like cultural anthropology. I mean, I'm sitting here like, oh my God.
You in this cultural anthropology? I'm so happy I'm not in school anymore.
Because it all ties into this. That's what I'm saying. It's all tied together. So, like I said, when I be telling you I'll be about to throw up, I'll be about to throw up. Like, I'm sitting here like, listen, reading their notes and all this stuff about indigenous tribes and how they do us. Yeah, and then this is pretty much the same stuff. That's why I'm like, what?
Oh, but you know what?
I don't know.
Let me tell you this before I forget, because I meant to tell you when you brought it up to begin with. Annual credit report. You know that before you can only request that how many times per year?
I thought it was one.
Right, for each bureau though. So that was 3 times a year, right?
Ah. I didn't know it was
once for each bureau. So before you could only request it 3 times a year. But like, you can go to their website right now. I'm gonna do a separate video on this, but you can go to annualcreditreport.com, and we are still technically in a pandemic. So for the longest time, they have had, and it says right on their website, during the COVID-19 pandemic, during the C-19 pandemic, you know, the social media.
Yeah, I know the dang. I know you said it. Dang it.
During the C-19 thingamajig, huh?
The video better not get deleted. Or the lies.
See, and this is stuff people don't even know. They be like, "Why don't you do a video about this?" I'm like, y'all don't even understand. You can't even say certain stuff. Like, y'all be trying to come for me in the comments.
They coming for you in the comments.
Girl, people just don't be having, not everybody, but some people just don't be having nothing to do. But anyway, during this situation, accessing your credit is important. That's why Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion are coming together to offer free weekly online credit reports. Free.
What?
Yeah, go to annualcreditreport.com.
Oh, is this why? Is this because of the no-knock new rules and say parking stuff on our credit now, or what?
Well, because during that situation, a lot of people were committing fraud. A lot of people were desperate. There were a lot of people. There was a lot of fraud going on. There still is a lot of fraud going on. So instead of 1 per year per bureau, you can get 1 per week, and that it's been like that now for a while. But people didn't even know.
No, I didn't know. And I want to, look, I had just started me with a YouTube channel, child. I just put me and my son on there. So once this is done, if you do it, I just want permission. Like, I'm asking in front of everybody if I can put that on there.
Yeah, that's not my, this is public information.
Okay, but still, you're still.
Yeah, this is public information. You know, everything that I've talked about, I didn't come up with it. You know, somebody else put me on game.
Like I said, you were the one. It was just you and one other person that I felt it was imperative to share the letter with. That I felt would.
Well, I thank you. I thank you for doing that. And I'm gonna end the Facebook Live by Facebook. This will later go onto YouTube. Yes. Thank you, and thank you, B. There were people on consistently. They said this is interesting. They made comments. I just didn't want to break our conversation. So thank you for even agreeing to do this.
We're gonna get through this. Stay strong.
Yes.
Go tend to your preteen.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go see what mine.
Well, let me end with them, and then me and you just wrap up right quick. Talk to y'all later.
Okay.
Bye.